Nicklaus Children's Hospital. We've been following this now since right before we came on the air at 4 o'clock.
We have Miami-Dade Police Detective Daniel Ferrin on the phone right now. Detective, what can you tell us?
It's about 2:58 in the afternoon. We did receive one call of a possible bomb threat and possible shooting at the hospital. Of course, our officers responded to the hospital, began then evacuating the hospital just to make sure everything's okay. As they were there has not been any reports of any shooting from witnesses and people at the hospital. Of course, we are taking all precautionary measures. As you can see from your chopper up top, we're doing everything that we need to do to make sure that we maintain the hospital safe and the neighborhood safe as well. Of course, there might be a little bit of a delay in traffic around the area and people in the area, but just to make sure that we have everyone safe at the hospital and in the vicinity as well.
Detective, when you said that you received a call reporting a bomb threat, was that from the person who claimed to have had a bomb, or was this from somebody inside who said they heard something?
No, up to now, from what we've gathered, and of course this is all preliminary, it seems like it might be a third party from outside the hospital, but we haven't confirmed that. Of course, our detectives need to make sure they confirm that later on through the investigation. But up to now, what we can tell you is that there has not been any confirmation of any shooting at the hospital. They've been checking the interior of the hospital itself, the garages, and the area, the vicinity of the hospital as well.
That's what we wanted to ask you about right now. The garages specifically, that's what we're hearing reports. The phone call may have actually come from there, or that there may have been, Janine, you might know about a specific
Well, that we had heard
yeah.
that perhaps somebody had a bomb that they had claimed that they were going to put inside of a car, inside of the garage.
Correct. There's a lot of information. Of course, it's very preliminary. What we can tell you is that we are checking anywhere possible in actually the garage or the hospital, making sure that we clear the hospital itself. And of course, like you heard, there was two different reports, not only a bomb but also possible shooting as well. And we have not confirmed neither or at this time. Our officers are there. They're making sure that the whole entire hospital is safe, that everyone is safe. And what we want to tell people out there, either at the hospital or maybe family members, that we are checking everything possible in the area, and also listen to any police officers that are there. Follow their instructions as to what to do, where to go, and as soon as they give an all clear, then obviously they can go back to normal. But up to right now, we haven't confirmed of any type of shooting. We want to make sure that we reiterate that. And everything up to now seems status quo, but we are checking and making sure that the whole entire hospital is safe.
And are you evacuating the whole entire hospital, or just staff members or patients and everyone are being told to leave?
I can't tell you right now. I'm not at the scene exactly if everyone is being evacuated at this time. I was told that they were evacuating certain areas of the hospital. I can't tell you right now. We do have a PIO that is responding to the scene that will probably be able to gather some more information at the scene. But what I can tell you is that up to now, there has not been any reports of a shooting. There hasn't been anything that they found any type of device of a bomb. But they are checking the whole entire hospital just to make sure everything's fine at this time.
And Detective, most importantly here, no injuries to report so far yet.
No injuries, no shootings up to right now. And again, just making sure that everyone is safe and that the neighborhood's safe, the hospital's safe, the children at the hospital are safe as well. So up to right now, as you can see, our officers have converged there. They're doing all the precautionary measures that they're trained to do. And as soon as we get an all clear or we get some other information, we'll provide that for you.
And it looks like you have officers positioned up on the roof as well. And it also looks like there's some other squad cars that are maybe not Miami-Dade. Are you working with any other agencies at this point?
Up to right now, the only thing that I know is we do have Miami-Dade out there. I'm not sure if anybody else is out there, but up to now is our officers that are at the scene.
Detective, have you ever worked in emergency with Nicklaus Children's before? I mean, what happens with the patients who are actually in surgeries right now and people who are in the ORs?
Well, that's the reason why we have so many officers that are converging there to the actual hospital itself, making sure that everyone is safe within the hospital, making sure that if there is any type of surgery or anything going on, that we make sure that we maintain them safe while that's going on, while we continue our search. As you can see, there's a lot of officers that are out there, and just basically trying to make sure, check the whole entire hospital, make sure everything's clear.
Detective, do you know if there was some kind of like emergency alert or anything like that? Because it did seem like people were really rushing out of there. It did look like a bit of a chaotic scene. Was there anything like that that may have led to some of this panic and confusion there?
Well, like any type of situation, at first, when you might be hearing some type of reports, people, they're afraid and they start running out, like we've seen in any type of situation in the past. But what we want to reiterate to the public, just remain calm, listen to the officers, to their commands that they're giving them. As you can tell, our officers are there. They're converging. They're making sure they're clearing the hospital itself, and making sure that the whole entire place is safe, and continuing their investigation as well.
Okay, Detective Daniel Ferrin with Miami-Dade Police. We appreciate your time, sir. At this point, no reported injuries at Nicklaus Children's Hospital.